I'm so sorry. I just shoved food in my mouth so I could hurry and eat before we started. And then I walked in and I'm like, oh, it's 6:01. I need to get going. So, pardon me while I chew food. Um, yeah, welcome. One thing I wanted to, hi, Julie. I'm going to be writing names down. If this is your first time joining, please let me know where you're from. If you've been here before, you don't really need to because I'm making a master list, so I don't have to ask you every time. But if this is your first time, yes. Yeah, Julie, I'm trying not to spit like food out all over. Yeah, just let me know state or country. So, hi, Nicole. So that I can enter you into the drawing. Julie, thanks for asking. Maddie's doing great. She's back to her old self. She's walking. Sometimes she's even running a little bit and playing. So she's doing fabulous. I'm so happy. I really think that she might have known like what was in store for her because she just bounced back really quick. Hey, Emily. Emily, my family's visiting from Virginia right now. Well, actually, I think they left today. Sorry, I've been out in the wind. It's so windy up here right now that my hair is kind of going all over the place. So, yes, she is doing great. So, I'm going to try and get some more training videos of her while I still have her because we did a muzzle video. Me being we being like three little pits. We do Instagram videos. And we just did a muzzle video with Maddie. And hi, Karen. So I'm going to try and do some more while I still have her and while she's feeling good. So, yeah. So Emily, I have to work and I work like 6 days a week. So my niece is actually coming out to go to BYU in Utah and she wants to be a vet. So she actually, they came out to bring her out for college. And then I think they flew back today, but they're trying to talk me into flying back for Christmas. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to because I have a couple of board and train puppies coming over the Christmas break. So I don't know if I am going to be able to fly out for the holidays, but I'm trying to talk my mom into going out. So anyway, yeah, I'd like to get out there sometime soon, but I have to also get Jade totally certified first because she can't fly until she is certified. And I can't leave her home. So anyway, okay, let me write down everybody else. And Nicole has some great news. Nicole, I'm actually so jealous, but I am so excited that you're doing the Karen Pryor Academy. I do get all of her emails and I would love to do some of her classes. They also have a clicker expo. I think it's every year, and one of these years I really want to go to that. But you will love it. Anything by Karen Pryor is going to be amazing. So good for you. That's really exciting. Okay, come here, Jade. Good girl. I'm at my office this week because of, last week was kind of fiasco with Willy Wonka coming in and out. So I decided to come here today. Hello, Anita. So I am here and they're going to feed the other dog. So hi, Brian. let's see. It takes me a minute to write down Brian's last name. From Illinois. Also, how do you guys feel about like the Pupford actually asked me about changing up the day and time like each week. I love having like all you regulars here, and it's really fun for me, but I think they also want to give like other people a chance, and people like in other countries or on the East Coast where, I mean, it's only 8 o'clock for them, but still, how would you feel about switching, like every week offering a different day and time, just to get some people, other people involved? Hello, Renee. I would maybe keep the Saturday night one as well, and then maybe offer a second one if we can. But they were going to do a poll, and yes, Katie, this is the Q&A, the Pupford Q&A. So welcome. And Katie, if you want to let me know where you're from, I will enter you into the drawing for a free bag of Pupford training treats. So, okay, I'm going to go back and grab some questions. So also, before I forget, Emily, if so Emily is also studying to be a dog trainer. That course would be really good for you too. The Karen Pryor dog training fundamentals would be awesome. So yeah, that would be a great resource. Oh, so Nicole, that was actually, oh, yes, I did take Maddie to swim. So you went to pictures on my Facebook. Yeah, so Maddie was finally feeling better. So I took them to a river just to get in the water and swim. And so that was Jade and Maddie. Maddie's the bigger one, the big blue nose pit. Yes, and that is Maddie. If it was like at a big lake and it was a dog actually like swimming, that was Jade, because I take her to the lake. I took Maddie and Jade just to the river just so Maddie could get in and get her feet wet. So yeah, Maddie's the big blue nose, and Jade is actually here right now. Let me see if I can. She's my little black and white pit mix. She's like a pocket pitty. Okay, Julie said we had deer come out of the woods across the street and the girls went crazy. It was their first time seeing deer. Yeah, that would be scary. I'm assuming you had your dogs on leash. For something like that, you could do like a let's go and go the other way, or you could do a flight cue, meaning, oh, let's go this way and have the best party and treats ever. It's going to be more fun going this way than barking at the deer. Another thing you could do is like back up a little bit and treat the girls while they're looking at the deer. So it's like, oh, when I see deer and I stay calm, I get treats. So it's pretty much like the engage, disengage. But well, you could do the engage, disengage as well, but you could also just like, there's a deer, treat, there's a deer, treat, just so they associate that seeing deer and just looking at them and being calm gets them rewarded. So you could do that as well. Okay, Katie, how do I get my Australian Shepherd to be gentle? She does not listen to any commands we have tried. Settle and leave it don't work. Easy and gentle don't work either. We are tired of getting injured every day. And she's mentally and physically stimulated daily. Okay, so the first thing I would want to know is how old is she? And to answer one of your questions, she's an Aussie, so it is kind of hard. I'm trying to get this to lighten up a little bit. They do have a lot of energy, and any herding breed, they need a job. And that can be like some dogs, I'll put a pack on them. So I will give them a job of like, you're going to carry water or you're going to carry poop bags, or sometimes you don't even need to put anything in the pack. Just put it on them and let that be their job. If she doesn't listen to any commands, it could be for two reasons. Either she doesn't know them well enough yet, or it's not reinforcing enough, and is in an environment that's too distracting. So, for instance, when I take Jade out to a grocery store or a new place where we're practicing, if it's a new place, she's like, oh my gosh, this is like Disneyland and I got to sniff everything, and it's really hard for her to focus. So I will almost start over as if she didn't know anything, and I'll use treats and do the lore. And then she catches on quicker. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I remember that. I know what I'm supposed to do. So, and I will admit I'm totally guilty of this. I think that she should be as good as my former dogs. And it's like, well, I taught this to Tacoma and Maddie and they picked it up really easy. So why can't you do it? And it's because she hasn't learned it yet. I mean, I still need to teach it to her first in a low distracting environment. And then when it's really, when she's really good at it there, then I'll try it outside, backyard, front yard, in different places. But I will always use higher value treats at first just to get her attention, because if there's a lot of distractions in the environment, they're not going to listen. The other thing that I would do is if she's not listening, try to increase the value of your treats. So use something like, I use the Pupford salmon and rabbit a lot for this, or you could use like hot dogs, so that you can get her attention. And I would start with name game and just like a watch me. Because if you can't get her attention, she's not going to listen to anything else. So I would work on just responding to her name, and then do like a focus cue or a watch me. And then for settle, I like to use, I do mat work. So teach the dog to go to your mat. And Katie, if you want to write down like the things that I'm mentioning and then email me, I'm happy to send you the handouts for these. So I would start to do a relaxation protocol. And what that does is it teaches the dog to stay calm with increasing distractions. So you start with doing mat work, teach the dog to go to a mat and relax. So like I've been working with Jade a lot on mat work. So she's on her mat right now, if you can see, and she's relaxing. And then you can start to add in a word like settle, good settle, and then start to add in distractions. So you literally start with like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And then you work up to like knocking on the door, having somebody walk by, like adding in distractions. And if your dog stays on the mat, then they get rewarded. For the biting, I'm assuming that for easy and gentle, you're talking about mouthing and biting. So if a dog takes a treat too hard, first of all, I will always give a treat, especially with dogs that have a hard mouth like this. And so I'll come like quickly down under. Let me see if I can show you with Jade since she just got up. Jade, seats. Okay, so I will like come down and go right under her mouth and do it with an open hand. And that way she uses her lips to get it and not her teeth. Because if you do it like this, the dog has to like grab it with their teeth, and then you're more likely to get bit. If you do feel teeth, you can pull it away. And so I will do what's called like a flower. So I'll offer it. And if I feel teeth, it goes away. If they're being gentle or they're waiting, then I'll open my hand. And if they jump at it or I feel teeth, it closes. And as soon as I can open my hand and they wait, then I'll say, okay, get it. And I let them take it out of my hand. So Let me see if I can do this with Jade. Okay, parte. So if she were to go for it, I would pull it away, but I open. Yes. And then she waits for it, so I'm going to mark and then give it to her. But yeah, I've worked with some dogs that are so bad that they've literally bitten at my hand to get at the treat and broken skin. So I do just like pull my hand back, and they don't get it until I just feel lips and not teeth. And then I will like quickly like treat them underneath their chin so that they take it like a horse. And some of that is probably just puppy behavior. Let me scroll down and see if you answered my question about how old. Oh, 11 months. Okay. Okay, so the other thing is you actually have a teenager, adolescent. So when dogs get to this age, sometimes they'll push the boundaries and see what they can get away with, or training seems to revert back a little bit, because it's like a human teenager that is a little bit more defiant or wants to push the boundaries, or, you know, kind of test you a little bit. So that's kind of normal. At 11 months, you have an adolescent teenager. So this is the time when you want to be really, really consistent. And I know you have been and have done it since December, but this is when you want to really keep that up and let your dog know what the expectations are. So like, for instance, you're not going to get a treat if I feel teeth. I would also start to teach some impulse control, like wait. So wait for your food, wait for the treat, wait to go through the door, just to teach that impulse control. And then when you say she's mentally stimulated daily, that's awesome. I would maybe do a little more of that to tire her out. So like feeding her in a snuffle mat is going to make her do some nose work, engage her brain, tire her out, things like that. And then keeping, I don't have a water bottle in here. Keeping like your plastic water bottles that you're just going to recycle, and fill it with like toss in some treats or kibble, and then put the lid on, poke some holes in it, just big enough for one treat at a time to fall out, and then let her play with it. So dogs usually like the crunch of the water bottle, but then they have to move it around and figure out how to get the treats out. So it's good problem solving, and it will wear her out as well. Doing nose work, hiding treats around the house, doing go hunt, doing find it. All of those things are going to be really good. The other thing I like to use for dogs that have a really rough mouth is the flirt pole. So that way they get to chase something. They have to wait for it. And then they get to chase something. And then they get to grab it. They get to shake. You can play tug. And then you teach a drop it. So, and your hand's far away from their mouth. That your hand is literally holding the flirt pole. And the only time it gets close is when you put a treat right in front and say, drop it. And then as soon as the dog drops the end of the flirt pole, then you can drop a treat on the ground and then pick up the end of the flirt pole and then start it again. So that wears them out mentally and physically. So you could try that. With the leave it, that's one of those that you just have to practice a lot. And the way I teach leave it is you don't ever get it, but you get something better. So that's the trick, is that so in class, I start with a milk bone. So like a really boring milk bone. And I'll do the hand, like I teach it the same way I do weight. So I'll say leave it, and the dog can sniff, as long as the dog's not biting, but they can sniff and like nibble. And then as soon as they back away, like, well, why aren't you giving it to me? Then I click or mark, and then give them a better treat, but not the one in my hand. So the dog learns that I don't ever get when I'm being told to leave, but instead I get something better. And that's how I teach it. And then I slowly raise the value of what I'm asking the dog to leave. So I start with like a milk bone, but then I might ask the dog to leave cheese, but then they'll get a piece of hot dog. Or I'll ask them to leave chicken, and they might get a piece of steak or something like that. So what you're rewarding with always has to be better than what you're asking the dog to leave. And that's kind of how I teach it. And I always teach it on leash as well, so that if the dog doesn't leave it, they can't get rewarded for going over and grabbing it because you have them on a leash and it's just outside of their reach. So then I'll kind of like back up a few steps and start to move the dog away from the item. And as soon as they turn around to look at me, that's when I mark and treat, because they're actually like leaving the item, turning and focusing on me, click, and then I give the better treat. So if leave it's not working, I would actually just start it over. Again, if you want to email me, I'm going to put my email address. So it's Tracy with an I at pupford.com. And any of the handouts that I talk about, if you email me, I'll send them to you. So it may take me a few days, but I will definitely do that. Okay, so Karen, you use the snuffle mat. You used the snuffle mat for the first time this week. I could actually hear her snuffling. That's awesome. And I'm glad you posted it. Yeah, I actually feed Jade one meal in a snuffle mat, just for enrichment and because she eats so fast and then she wants to go eat her sister's food. So she gets fed last and she gets fed in a snuffle mat to slow her down. And I need her a little more tired out because she's always like crazy. Okay, let me go back to your question. Okay, so Katie, did I answer everything? So if you want to email me, ask for Relaxation Protocol. I like the version that my friend wrote up, so it's going to be on her letterhead. And then I can send you the Leave It. And I don't really have handouts on Easy and Gentle, but I will just not give it to them. I'll just keep pulling my hand back, and they don't get it until they wait and until I don't feel teeth. And then I'll open my hand and let them take it out of my hand. So yeah, I would work on those. And then when you're doing the relaxation protocol and you work up to like longer and longer durations of laying on the mat, then you can intermittently reward the dog for staying on the mat. So let's say you're up to 20 seconds, but then like after 8 seconds, you can toss a treat onto the mat and say like, good settle. And then count 8 more seconds or 10 seconds, toss a treat and say good settle. So you can treat intermittently throughout that time and reward the dog and then teach the word settle that way. So yeah, try those and then let me know how it goes. Hi, Ellen. Let me write Ellen down. Hello from Georgia. Okay. Okay, Anita, can you help getting Pup to walk on a treadmill? I've got her on it with all 4, but when I turn it on, she freaks. So I would start by putting her on it with treats right on the treadmill without it being on. So just so your dog gets used to standing on it and then treat. Then I would have your dog off of the treadmill and turn it on and give her treats while she's watching it go. And then you could use something like a Target stick, which is one of these, and it extends. You can get these from Amazon. But you can put like peanut butter or baby food or something on the end. And then once you get your dog on the treadmill, put this right in front of their mouth so that they can lick as they're walking. So it kind of distracts their brain. And you could also use something like a paper plate with peanut butter smeared on it and hold it up, or like the lick mat, if there's a place on your treadmill that you could stick it. So then when you turn the treadmill on, your dog starts licking the lick mat as she's walking. And then also, if on your treadmill, if you can adjust the speed, so start out really, really slow, so it's barely moving, and then kind of increase the speed. That will help your dog to not freak out. Okay. Oh, so Nicole, your trainer from Wichita will be speaking. Oh, that's awesome. Who's your trainer? One of my trainer friends, we're trying to plan to go, but we don't know exactly when we're going to go. But yeah, I really want to go to one. I think that would be amazing. Okay, so Katie is from Pennsylvania. Okay. Oh yeah, talking about the days and times. Yeah, so right now I've been doing it every Wednesday at 6, and I try to do that so that it's not too late for East Coast people. And I think we get a really good crowd. I just know there's some people that can't do this night, or they want an earlier time. So I may see about maybe once a month offering a different day and time, but keeping it on Wednesday night for like 3 weeks, and then 1 week change the day and the time, and just see how many people come. So that might work too, because I don't want to lose you guys, because you guys are the highlight of my week. Like, I look forward to Wednesday nights just because I know I get to come and do this, and like virtually talk to all you guys and answer questions. So it's really fun for me. So I kind of don't want to lose the Wednesday night momentum, but yeah, maybe doing it once a month, different day and time would work, and just see if other people can do it. Hi, Lexi. And Rhode Island. That's awesome. One of my really good friends lives in Rhode Island, and she's a trainer, and she is with a pit bull rescue. So we both have love of pit bulls in common. And she's from, I think, Cranston. Pretty sure Cranston. And I was going to try to go visit her, but when I was going to go, there was a mandatory 2-week quarantine, and I'm like, I can't take 2 weeks off. Like, I could come for 4 days, but I can't take 2 weeks off. So I haven't gone yet. And then Fiorella, welcome. All the way from Peru. That's awesome. Okay. Oh, yeah, so you saw little Jade. Jade's a little swimming machine. I would be afraid to have Maddie actually swim because she's got such bad arthritis. And I think the swimming would be good for her, and I would put a life jacket on her, but I would be afraid that she might sink. Just because she has gained some weight because of the prednisone. So now that we are weaning her off the prednisone, she's also on a diet because she needs to lose a little bit of weight. So yeah, they're a lot of fun. And then I have a third dog who doesn't really like the water, and she hates riding in the car. So I don't take her all the time unless we're like going for a hike where she can just hike and not have to go in the water. So, okay. And that's a good thing too, Katie, to give her a job, to bring you a certain ball, before you throw another one. That's good. And then you could give her like another job, like to carry a pack around, or do some notes. So another one of my favorite Noseworks games is I'll keep my little Amazon boxes or my Pupford boxes. And I think I usually get up to like 6 or 8. and I'll put a piece of cheese or hot dog or bacon in one box, and then like place them all around the living room, bring Jade in and say, find it. And then she's got to sniff the boxes to figure out which one has the treat. And you can tell when she gets it because she'll nose it and then stop and freeze. And then it's like, then I mark it and then open the box and give her the treat. So it kind of gets that. I mean, she's not really hurting, but she is doing nose work and able to like use her brain. So yeah, you could do that as well and try that. Okay, so Fiorella, my 2-year-old Westie doesn't let me pet certain dogs at the dog park. Interesting. So what I would do is when you go to pet another dog, have good things happen to your dog. So it's like you can have your dog like sit and wait. I'll do this a lot with puppies that have poor impulse control. So I'll say wait, and then I'll give the other dog a treat, pet it, and then I'll mark like yes or click, and then give that dog a treat for waiting and having good manners. So you could potentially like put your dog in a sit, and then just say wait or stay, and then pet the other dog, and then oh good job, and then reward your dog for allowing you to pet the other dog. So that you petting the other dogs or interacting with other dogs makes good things happen for your dog. And I generally don't like to take treats to a dog park just because it can start a fight. But in this case, I would maybe try if there's not too many dogs in there, just so you can reward your dog for watching you pet other dogs and then having good things happen. The other thing, if you have somebody that can go with you to the dog park, they could take your dog and with some treats, like kind of a distance away. And then when you're petting a dog, have the other person with your Westie treat. So your dog's watching you pet other dogs, but then it's like treat, 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 treat. And then when you stop petting the other dogs, the treats for your dog stop. So it's kind of like an open bar, closed bar type thing. So open bar means like chicken falls from the sky, and your dog is like just chicken over and over and over and over again while you're petting. But then when you stop, that's closed bar, and then you're not petting anybody, and the dogs get no treats. So then, or your dog. So then your Westie learns like, oh, I like it when mom pets other dogs because I get really yummy treats. So, yeah, I would try that. Okay, Julie, your twins are going to start practicing the violin. Awesome. So I play as well. I don't play well. I don't play well, but I do try and play. And when I practice, one of my dogs will leave. Like she'll go outside because she can't handle the sound. The other two will kind of stick around. But what I would do is, yes, and when people start violin, it is brutal. Like listening, because while they're learning intonation and stuff like that and like proper bow, like it sounds like fingernails on a chalkboard. So what I would do is I would get the violin out first and pair it with treats. So it's like, oh, look what this is. Let your dog sniff it, treat, sniff it, treat. And I don't know that I would really put it on the ground because I wouldn't want the dog to step on it. But then I would start to desensitize to the sound of the violin. So you could get a mute. It's a little thing that goes over the bridge, which softens the sound. And have your girls just like play one string, and while that sound is going, then you treat, 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 treat. And then when the sound stops, the treats stop. And actually, I think Pupford might have a violin, on their Sounds app. Let me look really quick. I use the Sounds app a lot. Instruments. So it doesn't look like they have a violin, but you could get on YouTube and there's a ton of videos on violin. And I would start out with maybe a small kid playing on YouTube where it's not going to be as good and professional. And then like turn your volume down on your computer so it's just barely loud enough for it. And then play it and then just start tossing treats. And then push stop and the treats stop. And if your dog is good with that, then increase the volume a little bit and then do it again. So you play the sound, treat, 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 sound stops, treat, stop. And then you can get louder and louder and louder. Another thing that you could do is like when your girls start to practice, put the dogs in another room in a crate with like a bully stick or a yak chew. So they have something to do in a safe place, but they're not like right there with the violin. So they can hear it and the girls can practice, but they'll associate it with, oh, we go to our crate and we get to chew on really fun stuff. And then as time goes on, they will get used to the sound. I mean, my dogs have had to get used to piano, guitar, violin, cello, mandolin, and now I can pretty much grab any instrument and they're going to be okay with it just because they've heard it a lot. But at first they were like, oh my gosh, what is that? And what is that awful sound? So violin's actually my favorite instrument, but it's the hardest to play. So I'm actually taking lessons right now from somebody, and I don't have a lot of time to practice because I work all the time, but it's just kind of like an outlet for me. But it's really fun. So I'm glad your girls are taking, and your dogs will get used to it. But I would still do that sound desensitization just to get them used to it. And then I'm not sure that dogs would wear earplugs. And I think you were kidding about that. But I don't know if they even make them. And if they do, I really don't know that you could get a dog to keep them in. So I would just move them away, and give them something else to do and then desensitize them to the sound. Okay, Nicole, Vanessa Haycheck with Hands Full Dog Training, huh? I'll have to check her out because I don't know who that is. I've never heard of her, but she's got to be good. If she's at the Clicker Expo presenting, then she's really good. Okay, Lexi will be going down south to our condo in 2 weeks. This is the first time our 6-month-old and 1-year-old will be in this house. Any tips to acclimate easily? Our other two are already 12 and 14, so they didn't need too much help. Yeah, so when you go to the new condo, the first thing I would do is on leash, walk your dogs around the whole condo and let them sniff. Like, let them just get used to it. The reason I want them on leash is because some dogs, if they're nervous, they may pee, or if they want to mark, like Jade, my dog, even though she's female, she marks. So whenever we're in somebody else's house or a new place, I have her on a leash. So I would walk them around on leash, let them sniff, check everything out. And then dogs really need predictability. So then I would just get on a good routine. So first thing in the morning, we go potty and let them know like which door we're going to go potty through. So they can learn to like go to that door and let you know that they need to go out. So, it might look like first thing in the morning, go out and go potty, come back in, feed them. 20 to 30 minutes later, go potty again. Then you could either do an enrichment session, training session, something like that, or a walk, and then come back and do a training session, then a nap. So just get them on a structure and a routine. And again, you're less likely to have accidents if you introduce your dog to the whole condo, so that the dog knows that the whole condo is like his space, or like his den, so that he doesn't potty, he or she. I'm not sure if it's a male or female. But if dogs don't view like the whole house or the whole condo as their domain, then they will kind of potty in different places. But once they learn like this whole place is my den, then they don't potty in it so much. And then I would teach them like just be really consistent about which door you go through to potty, and do that. And if there's a room that the dogs are kind of shy and don't want to go in, you could toss treats into the room, so the dog has to just over the threshold, so that they just stick their head in, come out, and then go all the way in, turn around and come out. So you can make like a Hansel and Gretel trail and let them kind of follow in and do that. So that would be my advice on how to do that. Oh yeah, so Cranston isn't too far. Someday I am going to make it up there to visit. So she also does a pit bull class on Sunday, so it's just pit bulls, and I really want to go to that, and just see her class. But Jade will have to go with me, and I've got to get her all the way certified before she can fly. Okay, and then Nicole says, on weekends I do travel to go to training with the pups. Yeah, I probably won't do it on a weekend. Sunday, Monday are kind of my days off anyway. So I would probably do it during the week and maybe try to do like either a morning one or an early afternoon one, and just see what we get. If it doesn't work, like I said, we'll stick with Wednesday nights as well. Okay, Linda from Georgia. Yeah, so Nicole, I have one dog that swims like a maniac, and I think Maddie would if she was younger and not so like heavy and she sinks. Daphne wants nothing to do with the water. She won't go in. But it's nice having dogs that swim, because then you can play fetch, throw the ball, let them go out and swim it, bring it back. It's good for their joints and it tires them out, which is what I really like. Oh, Julie, you have a twin boy and girl. Sorry, I think I called them girls. Okay, so Linda says 2-year-old rescue barks at everything. Okay, so it kind of depends on what they're barking at, and is it a he or she? What I do in any case, if it's something that's going by, so let's say as an example that somebody's walking their dog by in front of your house and your dog starts barking. Think about what the person and the dog are doing. They're walking by and going away. So in your dog's mind, your dog is making that happen. So to your dog, it's like, if I bark, I can make people go away and I can make them leave my property. So it's the same thing with a mailman coming up or the UPS guy coming up and leaving a package and then going away. If your dog's barking, then that becomes really reinforcing. So the first thing that I always do is environmental management, which means don't give your dog access to doors or windows or anything that they can look out. So I actually have a screen that is solid on the bottom and then has the screen like on top. And then I have flower planters in the front window. So the dogs literally can't see outside to bark at anything. I mean, they can go through the dog door and go around to the fence and bark, but they don't usually do that. And then I would use what we call a positive interrupter, which can mean like, and I do allow my dogs to bark once to alert me that something's going on. So they might bark and I'll go out and I'll say, okay, enough. And then we've paired the word enough or stop with treats. So when they hear that, it's like, oh, we get to come and get a treat. So then they'll come back, get a treat, and then I'll say, okay, thank you. It's just the neighbor no on the lawn. Got it. Now you need to be quiet. If they're not quiet, if they go back to barking, then I just bring them in until whatever the trigger is leaves, because we don't want them to keep practicing that behavior of barking. So think about interrupting and redirecting. So you can interrupt by saying, oh, okay, thank you, or enough, or stop. And then reward them for stopping the behavior and coming back to you, get a treat, and then redirect them. So you could redirect to a go hunt, where you throw a handful of treats or kibble out into the lawn, and the dog gets to go sniff through to find all the treats, because that's going to incorporate some nose work as well and give your dog something to do. Or you could interrupt and teach your dog to go to a mat and be calm. The other thing you could do is the relaxation protocol as well, where you teach your dog to be calm on a mat with increasing distraction. So being calm on a mat means laying on a mat and not barking. So if you want to email me, I just ask for the relaxation protocol and I can send that to you. So yes, you can teach like a go to your mat and chill or settle or whatever, and then teach your dog to go to a mat, and then it takes you through step by step, but then you can start adding in, like having somebody walk by, have a dog walk by, have a dog bark from your phone app or whatever, have somebody knock on the door. So you're increasing the distractions, but your dog is getting rewarded for being calm. If your dog's not calm at that level, then you don't move on to the next level until your dog can stay calm at that level. Then you move on. So, yeah, and really the dog's not doing anything wrong. It's just that's how they communicate. So your dog's basically barking, saying like, oh, mom, there's a dog walking by, or oh, there's a UPS guy, or with my dogs, it's like, oh, the neighbor's mowing his lawn. And then they like to bark at him, so I actually bring them in so that they can't bark, just to keep them like under threshold. Okay, Karen, I tried playing violin years ago. My family begged me to stop. Yeah, I get that. I have 2 cousins living with me right now, and so I know that it kills them when I practice, but it's like, well, it's all right. It's my house and you're living here as a guest, so put up with it. Yeah, it's a hard instrument because you have to be like just right on, or it just doesn't sound good. Okay, Fiorella, another concern I have is that he has started pushing another dog away with his body, and if the dog doesn't move, he snaps at him. He also doesn't want other people petting the dog. Today I put him in a sit while a friend pet him and gave him a treat for that, but I know that if I weren't grabbing him by the harness, he would go after him. It sounds like he might be resource guarding you, so that if the dogs are near you or you're petting them, then he's going to kind of go after them because he's guarding you. It could be kind of a jealousy type thing where he doesn't like other dogs being pet by you or anybody else. So again, I would do the same thing, and that is make good things happen for him while other dogs are being pet. So if you have a friend pet the other dogs, then you give your dog treats. So keep giving your dog treats while he watches other dogs being pet. So good things are happening to your dogs while they're watching your friend pet another dog. And I would do that. And I would maybe have your dog on a leash, but step on the leash so that your dog can't lunge them and can't go after them. Um, so yeah, and it could just be, it could also be an age thing. Your dog's in that adolescent teenage stage, so that's where they try and see what they can get away with, maybe start to bully, push other dogs away. My dog will actually, if I'm petting another dog, she'll come and get in between me and the dog and then be like right there, like pet me, pet me. So she does the same thing, only she doesn't snap at the other dog. So what I'll do is I'll say, oh, hey, I was petting somebody else right now. And I'll put her in a downstay, and then I will pet the other dog, and then I will reward Jade for being calm. And I'll say, oh, good stay. And then I'll treat her for being calm, watching me pet another dog, and then she gets rewarded for that. So again, it's like impulse control and teaching your dog that if you're calm and don't snap at another dog or don't try to get in between, then you get rewarded too. And I would add as part of that reward a lot of petting and treats. So then your dog also gets that attention. So your kids have the earplugs? Yeah, I my neighbors like to sleep outside all winter or all summer long, so they actually have their bed outside on their porch, and they wear earplugs at night. Number one, we live on a highway, and then we live by a couple of farms, so there's always farm dogs barking or cows mooing, um, things like that. So they sleep with earplugs. Um, Vanessa says she will be a spotlight team in a trick training learning lab. That's awesome. I actually want to get into doing some more tricks with Jade, but I just have not had time. Okay. Ellen, welcome. I have 5 puppies. Wow. That is a lot. Are you like training and keeping all 5 puppies? Because you have a lot of patience. That's a lot. So I just received my clickers and treats. I've been praising them and giving them individual dog food pieces when they sit in front of me instead of pulling at me. I'm trying to learn how to train them, but just like the puppies, I see a squirrel and I get distracted. Are you able to train all the pups together at one time? Or do you need to take one away? Yes, I train each one separately. So even when I bring like a new rescue home and all my dogs are different ages, I always train the dogs separately and one at a time, because if you're marking and like doing a click and the other dogs that didn't really do anything hear the click, to them, they still earned a treat. And even though with 5 puppies, you're going to be training, like each dog is going to learn at a different rate. Some may learn faster, some might learn slower. And the dogs will feed off of each other. So it's going to be really hard. So yes, I will like put my dogs outside and bring in one at a time and work for like 15 minutes and then swap. Eventually I will work with them together, like on door manners, but I teach door manners with each dog separately before I put them together. So yes, you do need to, especially with puppies, you need to separate them. And I worked with a guy that they got 2 dogs. They were the same age, but they weren't litter mates. So one was a Bernese Mountain Dog and the other one was a Retriever. And even those 2, because they were so close in age, they would feed off of each other. And so we finally had to separate them to do training, which was good for them, but they did develop some separation anxiety when they were away from each other. So like when we had like Huxley out, Baxter was behind a baby gate just like barking and crying and carrying on. And we would ignore that or give him a bully stick or something to do in the back room so we could work with Baxter or Huxley. And so, because we want them to learn to like focus on the owner and not be like, oh my gosh, I have to be with my sibling like all the time or I'm going to go crazy. So it's good to separate them for that reason as well, so that they learn to be independent and focus on you. So yes, I would do that. So Linda, let's see. So the email is Tracy with an I at pupford.com. So just TRACI at pupford.com. Okay, so Alan, you're giving 3 away and keeping 2. Yeah, that's better. But even with 2, train them separately, because you don't want to go through like littermate syndrome, which actually isn't a real thing. But what happens is the dogs bond with each other and then not their owner. So and then they will get really codependent on each other. So if you take one away, like let's say one has to go to the vet and one stays home, if they're separated, they really freak out. So you want to separate them anyway and do training sessions with each dog, with the dog separate before you try it together. So yeah, I would still do that. Okay, Wilma is going to trick training class currently. That's awesome. You'll have to post some of the tricks. It's really fun. I don't have a ton of patience to do the shaping, but I have taught Jade some tricks, and it is fun to do. So yeah, good for you. That's awesome. So Lexi, whoops, that keeps. I followed that rule from you when we got our second puppy a few months ago. Having them only 5 months apart and training them separately has been great. Good. I'm so glad. And thank you for sharing that, because yes, you do definitely need to separate them. So Ellen, you don't have room in the house to keep them. So they've been staying outside. They're 2 months and I still haven't been able to get them leash trained. None of them have any problems with the collar, but one of them doesn't like the collar on any of them. So you could pair the collar with treats. So let's say that this hat is the collar. So you could present the collar, give a treat, and then both go behind your back. And then collar predicts treat. And as soon as the dog is like, oh, I like seeing the collar come out because that means a treat's coming, then you can start like putting the collar over here. Let's use this. So let's pretend like this is the collar. Then I'll kind of put it over my arm and treat, and then I'll put it up closer, treat out of my hand, and then I'll lure the dog through the collar, so that they're actually putting their head through the collar, and I'll do it really slow and gradual that way. And when you said one of them doesn't like the collars on any of them, does that mean that one puppy doesn't like the other puppies to have collars? And what does that look like? Like, what does that puppy do when the other dogs have collars on them? Because I would definitely desensitize them to it and do it the slow way. Oh, he tries to take it off. Yeah, I mean, and it could be kind of a play thing. Like dogs some dogs will chew their own collar and chew it off if they can get their mouth under it. It could just be kind of a play thing, like playing and then trying to chew it off. I would start teaching a leave it. So if you want to email me, I can send you my email handout. Sorry, I'm getting the hiccups. And so if you see your dog starting to chew on the collar of another dog, then I would, do like, hey, leave it. And I would have a leash on the dog so that if the dog doesn't leave it right away, you can pick up the leash and start to back up, like gently, like you don't want to yank your dog, but just like start to back up. And as soon as the dog turns towards you, that's when you mark and treat. And then the treat has to be better than the collar. So like, okay, you can't chew on the collar ever, but I will give you some hot dog. And then redirect to like, okay, you can't chew on the collar, but here's one of your toys. You can chew on this, or you can chew on a rope toy or a bully stick or something like that. So just interrupting that behavior and then redirecting, so that he doesn't like pull on it and chew. I have seen puppies do that in puppy class, and it's kind of a play behavior type thing. But I still discourage it, and I'll still, like, hey, we don't do that. Leave it. And then as soon as they leave it, then I reward. Let's see. None of the other 4 dogs or puppies mind having to call her foot on it. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that's trying to say. Lexi said, I think that was honestly the best advice for having multiple puppies at once. Oh, good. I'm so glad that helped. Yeah, and I do that even now with my adult dogs. Like I always do separate training sessions with them. And then I try to do separate outing. Like sometimes they all go, but I'll do like a short, easy hike with Maddie. And then like Jade will go to the lake and play ball. And Daphne I'll do a hike with because she hates the lake. She hates water. And it gives me a chance to bond with each dog. And then they learn to focus on me instead of the other dogs. And so I like to do it for that reason. But then I'll still do some activities where we all go. But I still separate and do separate training sessions and then some separate outings. Okay. I'm going to scroll back and make sure I haven't missed any questions. And then if there's no more answers or no more questions, we'll do a drawing. Let's see. Okay. I think I pretty much answered everything, but let me just make sure. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So, Lexi, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I do too. I love doing these. And it's totally fine when I do like I do watch a lot of webinars for continuing ed, and they always have a Q&A, and I don't talk much in those either. Like I don't ask. I mean, sometimes I'll ask questions, but not a ton. But I always learn a lot, and as long as you're learning from other people, that's what counts. So you don't even have to say a lot if you don't want to, and as long as you learn something, then that's totally cool. And you don't even have to ask questions. Like you can post something really good that your dog did this week, or like a good milestone, or like we had a great week because my dog finally learned this. Like we like to hear about that stuff too, and what worked for you, because like not everything that I say is going to work for every dog. So sometimes we have to switch it up. Oh, Julie, that's awesome. My daughter and I watch you at her bedtime. That's so cool. I love that. And for your daughter, it may be kind of boring. So at least it puts her to sleep, right? Jade's fast asleep right now, which is good because she's been super hyper all day. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a drawing. And then if there's more questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, we will just resume next week. And for next week, we'll keep the same Wednesday night at 6. If we change it, I'll always post it on the Pupford page. But, okay, so I just got to stick all these in and draw. Tonight's winner is Renee. Oh, gosh. Chazuski. I honestly do not know how to say your last name. But it's the only Renee in the group. So Renee, you won the free bag of training treats. So you are going to email hello@pupford.com, and I will email them as well and let them know that you won, and you can choose your favorite bag. If there's one that you haven't tried yet, you can try a new kind, or if you haven't tried them yet, you can try them. This one's freeze-dried chicken. The ones I use most often are rabbit and salmon, but that's just because they're higher value. So yeah, congratulations. You just won a free bag of treats. And okay, thank you everybody for joining. You guys had great questions tonight. We had a lot of people. So have a great week and weekend, and I will see you all next Wednesday, same time. Okay, see you later.